Do you ever wish you had a personal hype girl? Someone to pump you up when you're feeling down or high five you when things go right? Well, guess what? I'm your girl, that's me, and that's what Talks with Your Trainer is all about. So stand up, chin high, get your party pump on, and let's get after it. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Talks with Your Trainer. I am your host, Meghan Trainor. Thank you guys so much for being here, pressing play again on another episode. I hope you enjoyed last week's with Dr. Capizzi. It was very informative and very entertaining. I enjoyed listening back to it. Sometimes when I'm doing these podcasts, I'm so in the zone and I'm, very present that I forget what we talk about. So I had to go back and listen to it to say, that was really a great episode. If I do say so myself, just from a stance of educational, and hopefully it helped a lot of you all who might be considering doing some sort of breast augmentation. Now, this is going to be the last tits talk with your trainer episode. Okay, I'm over it. We're done. But I do have to say thank you for listening to the last episode because a lot of you reached out to me on my Instagram, which is Body by a Trainer on Instagram, to tell me that you enjoyed hearing what Dr. Capizzi had to say from a standpoint of medical. And it's great to hear from someone who has gone through it, the post-op, the pre-op, the thought process of getting there. So I really appreciate you guys letting me know that it was informative for you and it helped you. A lot of you said that there are times when you've thought about doing it and you're nervous, X, Y, and Z. I totally get it. That was me. And it was great to hear that you enjoyed it. So thank you for listening. This week, I'm super excited about my guest. I cannot wait to have her here, Miss Mary Queen. I'm going to give her a full intro because when your last name is Queen, she deserves all the intro. I can't even imagine having my last name be Queen. That is if my last name could be Prosecco, that would probably be the best version of that for me. Mary's going to come on and talk to you guys about some really, really exciting things that those of you who are moms or those of you who are just a role model in a young girl's life, I think you're really going to enjoy what she has to say. Before I bring Miss Queen on, I just want to let you guys know that the Pitbull concert last week was unbelievable. I'm literally sweating right now thinking about how I was party pumping as low as I could, so hard that I was having literally the time of my life. And that is the song that Pitbull came out with. So it's the Trilogy Tour. If you haven't gone yet, buy your tickets right now. I don't even care if you don't like Enrique, Pitbull, or Ricky Martin. You will just feel like you're in a club the whole time, just having fun. If you like to have fun, get tickets to this tour. It was so great. I had 5 of my other girlfriends, so we had 6 of us in a row. I didn't even care who was sitting next to me. I could have been solo by myself at this concert and having the most fun. So first of all, each time they go to a different city, they kind of switch up their who comes out first. So this Charlotte location had Ricky Martin come out first. Living la vida loca. And I say it like that because he took on some sort of Broadway. He just put on his Broadway hat at this concert, and he was just giving me vibrato vibes the entire time. And he was out there, I think he's 50, maybe 51, 52, in his cargo pants, just giving me Backstreet Boy vibes. And he was so great, but I'm going to do it one more time because it feels so good to do it. Living la vida loca. And you really have to get into that to do that. And I really appreciated Ricky opening because that was awesome. Then Pitbull came. I feel like he should be the closer. No offense, Enrique. But Pitbull was perfect to come on in the middle because you weren't losing steam. you were just pumping yourself up. And we got really great seats. I had a couple beverages one evening and decided that I was going to buy 6 tickets, club level tickets, and find friends that would like to go with me. Thankfully, I was there with some of my most fun friends. If you weren't there with me, I find you fun too, but the ones that came with me are really fun. So Pitbull came on second, and just, I know my rent was gonna be late about a week ago. I worked my ass off, but I still can't pay it though, you know. So that was how it all started. And then Enrique closed, and he was fantastic. I don't know how he did not play Hero. Let me be your hero, baby. How, miss. I think that was a huge miss, and he also didn't play, do you know what it feels like? Sorry, I'm having a moment. You know, the ping pong song. I was a little bummed he didn't play that, but he played all his other bangers. And I don't know if you know this, but I'm fluent in Spanish, you know. You know, in my cabeza, I am fluent in Spanish, okay? I feel that I know all the songs without knowing any of the songs. So I'm over there singing all of the Enrique songs, and me and all the amazing Hispanic women there, we were vibing together. We were eyeballing each other. They were singing the words. I was singing the words. I had no idea what I was singing, but I know the words. and I was just having the time of my life. So if you get the opportunity to go, please, dear Lord, heavens to Betsy, get tickets, overspend on them, have a couple glasses of Prosecco, and buy those tickets, because I promise you will not regret it. So that was, I couldn't let a moment pass without talking to you guys about that one. So check it out. It is March 21st when this episode comes out, but currently when I'm recording it, go back in time, it is International Women's Day, okay? So happy International Women's Day to all of my powerhouse women out there. This is a really cool moment for me to just thank all the ladies in my life who have molded me, shaped me, encouraged me, pumped me up to get me to where I am today, and have accepted me for who I am. You know, the women in my life, my grandma, she is no longer with us, but I mean, Dolores is always with me. D, okay? She's my Jersey grandmother. My whole family's from New Jersey. So even though I was raised in the South, like, I can get down with Jersey, okay? So, like, I'm very sweet, but don't mess with me. No, I'm kidding. I'll probably just apologize a lot and say, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I'm sorry. My grandmother, Dolores, I appreciate her for being who she is. If you're close with your grandma, I think that's an amazing bond to have. She was with me until I was 33 years old. I'm 40 now, so she had passed in February. So February is like when Maddie died, when my grandma died. I mean, I don't know. So I'm glad we're out of February. Like, please, let's pause that. And she was just so special to me. We loved hanging out. And my mom asked me the other day, she said, Meghan, when do you feel, because it's her mom, you know, you get that. When did you feel like you became close with grandma? Because my mom is such an amazing mom to my niece and nephew, Delaney and Grady. And my niece is 10. You know, she's going through it. So we're going to talk about that with Mary later about hormonals. Dear Lord, girl is 10 going on 42. But she was asking me about the relationship that I have with my grandma. And I said, you know, I feel like it wasn't until I was out of college that we really, really, really bonded. However, that doesn't mean that the bond wasn't established from all the times growing up and the Christmases, and my grandma and I sitting together every Christmas Eve at the midnight service, candlelight service, just like holding each other's hands, crying, singing Silent Night because we were emotional. And, you know, we just love to sing. She was a good singer. I am not. And that was just a special bond. So if you're close with your grandma, if you were, and you're, you know, Mish, just one of my very dear friends, she was party pumping with me at the concert. Her grandmother and her are very close. She passed away, so we have that special bond. My mother, of course, Jamie, Anne, very special to me. My sister-in-law, Jill, my niece, Delaney, all of the clams in my life, the women who are listening to this, the women who do Body by Trainor with me, thank you for being such big influences in my life in the most special way. So I just want you guys to take a moment. I know that International Women's Day has passed, but I mean, why can't every day be a day we celebrate the strong women in our lives? So if you could take a moment and just think about who is someone in your life that's a woman that has helped mold you, encouraged you, pushed you to become the woman that you are today. And I think maybe send them a text, even if it's not International Women's Day. You don't have to wait for that to happen. I also like to say the importance of friendship. Ladies, our friendship in our lives. You guys make me better every day for showing up, to work out, to press play, just to challenge me to become a better person every single day. And be around people who challenge you. Don't be around people who are mean to you in the challenging way. Be around those that want you to become better and push you to the limits that they know they see in you. Sometimes you can't see it in yourself, but you have those friends that know and believe in you. And as your personal hype girl, I want you to know that I believe in you and you can accomplish whatever you want if you really put your mind to it. That's one of those cliche sayings that I feel can get lost, but it's factual. And I'm going to talk about that with Mary in just a moment. I've got some notes, guys, because, this is a special day for me. I've got a friend on the podcast and I just didn't want to miss anything. Okay, so, oh yeah. We can edit that, Liz. Or not. I love bloopers. So when this comes out, you guys, the 4-year Clemiversary has already happened. St. Patrick's Day has already happened. And also my mom's birthday. So I'm going to foreshadow the fact that our 4-year Clemiversary, 4 years of pressing play, has happened. And it was awesome. I had an awesome outfit on. I haven't planned it yet, but it's going to be awesome. The workout is going to be awesome, and we're going to celebrate the fact that every single day, except for a couple when I had things happen, I press play with a new workout. Never repeated one workout since the beginning. Don't ever plan on ever repeating a workout, and mostly that's for me because I don't want to get bored. But thank you for being a part of that journey with me, and I'm not stopping. So let's keep going. Okay, so a lot happened the week before this comes out. And I'm just so excited to introduce my guest, Miss Mary Queen, because she actually, whether she knows it or not, has played a huge role in why I wanted to do Body by Trainor and why it started and how our friendship evolved. Being that it's International Women's Day, Mary Queen is such a inspirational woman in my life. When you hear more about her, she's going to talk about her amazing business that she is spearheading with one of her girlfriends called Girlhood Charlotte. For those of you out there who are listening, who are mothers, like I said earlier, who are aunts or any role model that you might be to a young girl, I hope this conversation that Mary and I have helps you in some way to figure out the right words to say. How do you approach a young girl who is entering into womanhood? And if you're a gal out there listening, we all went through that. So we can all come together and relate in that aspect. So without further ado, I'm so excited to welcome my very dear friend, Miss Mary Queen. All right, guys, here she is.
Hi!
Yay! The Body by Trainor experience. So many clams know who you are because you've been
Clammies.
there from the beginning.
I have.
And I just quickly, before we get into it, I want Mary to have an opportunity to give her who she is and all of that jazz, because I can tell you who she is. She's an amazing woman, amazing friend, amazing mom. It's International Women's Day. Before you came on, I said you're one of those women in my life that inspired me to do what I'm doing with Body by Trainor. You really were and still are, and encouraged me and pumped me up. So Mary was an Orange Theory coach. And if I could rewind time, before the pandemic, I was traveling every week for work for La Colombe. And I just needed that pump when I traveled, but hotel gyms can be very depressing. So I was like, let me go to a gym that I know I can find literally everywhere. Orange Theory was it. My very first Orange Theory class was in Fargo, North Dakota. Okay?
Yeah.
So fast forward, I've been to over 37 studios in the country because of traveling.
That's amazing.
My home studio was Quail Corners,
Yes.
where Mary was a coach. And for those of you who take group fitness classes, you know you have your favorite instructor, okay? You know you have the instructor that you pick the schedule because it's them teaching. So anytime I took an OTF class in Charlotte, I looked because I wanted Mary's class. Number one, she always was in a good mood. Whether she really was or not, you always had energy. You greeted people to make us feel like, oh God, I gotta pump myself up. Her music was always great. She always asked me what my favorite songs were so she could play them. She always had those lines when you needed that all out and you needed the motivation. She's the coach that was attentive. She recognized what pace you were going, and if you bumped it up, she's like, yeah, Meghan, I saw that. Let's go, girl. And in the weight room, she always encouraged you to, A, have great form, and also push yourself a little bit when she knew you could. So she was one of those women in my life, and still is, that made me want to help others find that let me go one more, because that is where I feel like you grow a little bit. When you don't think you can do it and you grow. I know. I just want you to know how special you are to me. And there are so many people that you inspire that probably haven't told you. So
you're so sweet. Well, I didn't know I was going to get all this. I'm like blushing and my heart just got fuller. And,
well,
thank you.
Yes.
You're so sweet. And I could say the exact same thing about you because you have, I mean, I always look on your, every day. I'm like, what's Meghan doing today? I got to see. And it just, you inspire me, whether you're, doing one of your workouts or whether you're, with your niece or you're, laying in a chair, getting some facial done or whatever it might be. I'm like, I want to be like Meghan.
Aww.
So women empower women.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said earlier too, surround yourself with women who challenge you and want you to be better. So I'm glad we do that for each other.
We do. I know.
And can I just take a moment for those of you who are watching? Please, Mary understands the assignment. She's got amazing hair happening. She is Keely from Ted Lasso. I love it.
Thanks.
She's got purple nails. She's got purple sparkle shoes on. I mean, girl is just spectacular.
Thanks.
I love it.
I wish I had the accent, though.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's a good accent.
Sorry, y'all get Southern instead of British.
I love your Southern accent.
Thanks.
So Mary actually is here today because she has, with one of her girlfriends, did I say it right?
Yeah, you did.
Yes.
Yep.
Started an amazing organization. And I'm not going to explain it because, of course, when you start it, you can say it the best. But it's called Girlhood Charlotte. Mm-hmm. And yes, while it is local to Charlotte, I think moms, aunts, any woman out there who is a role model to a young girl will be able to learn something about what Mary is doing in our city to be able to help the relationship from being a young girl and then going into adulthood. And that's really scary. And we've all been there. Like I said, if you're listening and you're a woman, we can all relate to that in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, part of life.
Exactly. So Mary's got 3 girls, and I think if anybody can talk about it, it's this one. So I'm going to shut up, and please, Mary, just tell us what Girlhood Charlotte is and anything you just want to talk about, and then we can go into more questions.
Okay. Well, a little background on me is I was a labor and delivery nurse long ago before I had children. And so I was around women, babies, vaginas.
I told her, I said, please don't hold back on anything you say. This is totally fine.
I also like to tell my 3 girls, Lily's my oldest, she's 16. Then I've got Stella, she's 14, and Becca's my baby who just turned 12. Any chance that I have to tell them that they came out of my vagina, I tell them that. So, and it's kind of a joke now that now they're like, I know, Mom, I know we came out of your vagina, okay? But anyway, so career-wise started as a nurse, then had children of my own and kind of put my career on the back burner, which led me into fitness, where I'm so thankful for the 15 years I had in fitness, for the people that I met, the relationships I made, obviously Meghan being one of them, and just the things I learned along the way. And so recently, I'm actually going back into the nursing field. And so it's kind of like I've done a full circle here.
Yeah.
And which I'm really excited about. And one of my dear friends, she's a pediatrician. Her daughter and my youngest are best buds. And they were playing soccer together one day out at a game. And I was kind of like, hey, I was like, yep. The girls are kind of getting to a point where we should be, talking about puberty, periods, like that they're going to be growing and changing. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, is there like a place we could go to and, like where we could, have moms and it'd be fun and, not, uncomfortable.
Not
and
so serious.
Yeah. And so serious. I was like, we should do a class. And she's like, she didn't laugh. And she was like, yeah, we should.
Right.
And I was like, really? And she's like, really?
Mm-hmm.
And so we kept we talked a little bit more, and then we circled back a few weeks later, and I said, were you really serious about this? And she's like, yeah, I think it's a great idea. She said, I would love to do it. I would love to do it with you. And I said, well, I'd love to do it with you.
Right.
So then it kind of took off from there, and the whole, the norm of trying to figure out what you wanted it to be, the how many people, the, where, like all the, logistical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so we kind of came to the conclusion that it's for girls as young as 8 because puberty starts.
Things happen early now.
Starts early now, or maybe as old as like 13. But kind of the sweet spot is like 9 to 12.
Don't be nasty.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. God.
Mm-hmm, yep. Mm-hmm. All right. And so I'm thinking back to many workouts where there were just so many nasty things being said.
Oh, I know.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
So
you have the age range.
Yes, the age range. And then we were kind of like, okay, how can we make this comfortable? How can we make it more of an intimate setting where you don't really feel like it's a class or you're necessarily being taught.
Right.
And that people can laugh and, kind of be silly and, ask questions that, maybe they would not normally feel like they could ask. And so we decided that it should be in somebody's home.
Right.
And so then the maximum number, 10 moms, 10 daughters.
Okay.
Because just to keep that intimate setting.
Right.
And then there's one of the moms can volunteer to be a host if she wants to be.
Okay.
And that would mean that it's out of her house that she would host, and she can make it anything she wants it to be. It could be like an afternoon tea party. It could be a pizza party, and then the girls could all sleep over if they wanted to.
Yeah.
It could be a wine night for the moms. And you can hang uteruses all over your house or whatever you would like to do. If you look on Etsy, you would be amazed at some of the
themed parties that go around that.
Parties that go around, and
I love
vagina
that.
Decorations.
Oh yeah, well you could probably just type like bachelor party.
Yeah, you could. Which, there's a fine
It's
line.
a little scary.
A little scary. So that's kind of the gist of it. That
Right.
it's a group of moms and daughters who all kind of know each other as well. So you're not necessarily putting a group of strangers in a room together,
Right.
to talk about these, uncomfortable nitty gritty type things.
Right.
And so, number one, creating that environment, comfort. Mm-hmm. Number two, we wanted to create a bond between mom and daughter.
Yeah.
That, me growing up, I mean, if I wanted to ask my mom a question, I could.
Sure.
But it wasn't like we sat down and had a huge conversation about, periods or puberty. And I think a lot of women our age can say that.
Definitely.
I know you're a little younger than me.
I mean,
I'll
I
give
wasn't
you
going to
that.
say anything, but
But anyway, around our age.
thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And so creating that mother-daughter bond dynamic right from kind of the start of a young girl's growth.
Yeah.
We want it to be to where the girl feels comfortable going to her mom.
Right.
A year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, that it just creates this newfound relationship between the two of them.
I think that's the best part about it. I mean, yes, you're talking about the physical changes, the period, oh my gosh, what do you call them, flowers that you were saying last night, or some of the girls were saying they wanted to wear sports bras. So all the physical changes that us girls had growing up, but more so is the bond and the friendship that you're establishing with your mom. Yes, I'm not a mom, but if I was, I believe you have a great bond with your daughters. While yes, you're close with them, you're friends, I would say, but they know that you're mom.
Yeah.
Like they respect you.
Mom first.
Right.
Yeah.
Mom first. And I have goosebumps just thinking about that, because that is just gotta be one of the most amazing relationships that you have in your life.
It's so
like
fun.
You came from my vagina and
yes.
And you listen to me and respect me, but you also know that I am your girl. Like, you need me, come to me. You failed a test. You accidentally, stole something and you don't know why you stole it. And oh my God, like meaning like you need to be able to go to your mom to say these things and not feel like she's going to punish you.
Right. It's like you're creating a level for comfort, not just for going through puberty, but for life in general. Yeah.
Are you close with your mom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I am.
And
I adore her. I love you, Mom.
Aw,
Yeah, I do.
I love that. And
Yes.
so, question for you in regards to Nathan. Nathan is her husband, and he's obviously a girl dad. Was he a part of the conversation when the girls were going through these changes, or how did he relate to that?
He always wants to know, but he wants to kind of be the secondhand conversation.
Right.
So it's he'll be like, how'd it go? What'd you talk about?
Right.
Or what'd they say? So, and it's nice for me to be able to go and talk to him, and then he listens to what I say, and he'll even sometimes be like, give me advice of like, hey, well, maybe you could say this next time, or maybe you could do this or whatever. And I'm like, I really appreciate that. Like having it from a man's perspective,
Right.
It sometimes is very different, but can also be taken in a great way too.
Very helpful, I
Yes.
think, for your daughters too, to know that while their other parent is not a female, they know that their dad is like okay with the conversation. Should
Yes.
they be out somewhere and they're with their dad and they need a tampon?
Yes, that is correct.
And it's like, oh God,
Yes.
oh my God.
Yes.
So for mommies out there who are listening, or those that have young girls in their lives, what would you say is a very important thing that you address, or how do you start the conversation?
We actually start the conversation by embarrassing the moms. So we do.
It's always good to start with a giggle.
We ask the moms. I mean, and we kind of tell them ahead of time, like, hey, we want this to be interactive.
Yeah.
We send out an outline of like the topics we're going to discuss so that they can prepare their daughters. So it's not like their daughter's walking in and all of a sudden they hear the word period and they're like, what am I doing here?
Right.
So there is something that we encourage the moms to, read through the outline we send prior to the class, to start the dialogue prior to coming. And then the moms, we say, hey, moms, anybody want to share a story about when you went through puberty or when you had your period?
Yeah.
And so, and the first class that we had, every mom wanted to share.
Oh yeah.
Every mom wanted to share, which was great. And some of the girls were like, some of the girls are like, Mom. But again, it creates like the mood in the room was just
shifted.
Yeah. And
Right.
so then the girls felt more comfortable with they being able to say, well, I've heard about this, or if they had a question about something else. And so, and, it's kind of cool that the mom got to share something with their daughter that they didn't know.
Right.
So they leave knowing their mom better than they did before they got there that day. So, yes, we expect from
I love
moms
that.
too. Yeah.
For
I'm
you.
trying to talk to Megan's face, but I'm talking to her boobs.
Thank you so much.
Also, the event we went to last night, she's wearing the beautiful necklace called, I have to give a shout out to Braveworks.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, we went to this amazing event last night, and I was so happy that Mary invited me to it. It's Braveworks. It's local here in Charlotte, but it's also international. And it's amazing for, helping women who have maybe been in domestic violence or have gone through addictions and helping them get their feet back on the ground. And what they do is they have these artisans who make beautiful jewelry or artwork, clothing, and I'm currently wearing one of the pieces that someone made, and it's gorgeous, and I love it. So, and it's also very nice on my décolletage.
Hence why I can't stop staring.
I know, thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Well, one of the things you said about having the moms be able to share their experience is it just makes them more relatable to their daughter.
Right.
By the way, they always say mom's always right. When you're younger, you're like, yeah, right. There's no way. And then as we get older, it's incredible how true it is. And I think the main reason that is because we were 10 one day, a long time ago.
Yes.
And so making your daughters recognize the fact that we've been where you are is helpful.
It definitely is.
And then, of course, you can go as, well, Mom, it was a lot different back then.
Yes.
Did you ever have cable?
I know.
But it was different. However, some things never change.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed.
So, one of the things we talked about last night was, excuse me, I sang a lot at the Pitbull concert.
Yeah.
So
I'm still mad I didn't get to go to that with you.
know.
Yeah.
But one of the things I had said, as you said earlier, you are always learning and always growing. No matter where you are in your business, it's always great to be innovative and to never feel like you've just got it figured out. It's good to take advice from other people, but yes, at the same time, people want to share their advice, so you have to kind of have a little bit of understanding that you can't always please everyone.
Very true.
So,
Yes.
but I do think I had a great piece of advice last night.
You did. Yes, you did.
I said maybe it would be a good idea for the moms at the end of the discussion to go into one room and have the girls stay in one room and you go with the moms or vice versa.
Yes.
So that they can maybe ask a couple of questions that they were a little uncomfortable to ask in front of their mom.
Yeah. Yeah. And yes. And so Meghan told me that last night, and I was like, I really like that idea.
Yeah.
Yes. So I have to take it to my partner, and we'll
Right.
discuss. And then I don't know. I feel like you should always be changing and evolving and trying different things. And
Yeah, absolutely.
And what works for one group may not necessarily work for another. I mean, there may be a group that, is very vocal, and it seems like the girls have no problems asking questions in front
Exactly.
of their mothers. And then we may have another group that very quiet. The girls are very quiet. We're not, it's not as interactive as maybe we would like it. And then, read
Yeah.
the room.
Yep.
Hey, maybe this is when we, break off and
Yep.
give an opportunity. So no, I love it.
It's
See?
not a cookie cutter
No,
because no one is the same and no group is going to be the same.
correct.
It's kind of like when you teach a class. If you knew certain people were coming in,
Yes.
you're like, oh boy, this person's energy is coming. I got to bring it.
Right.
And you just feed off of the energy of the room. But sometimes you have to be the energy of the room.
But yeah.
Like
very
if
true.
you have that group that is more shy, it's sort of like you have to bring it out in them to make them feel more comfortable.
Yes.
And you're great at that from a coaching standpoint and from what you're doing now. So I feel like you're going to adapt to those groups that are
Thanks.
vocal or quiet. Now, for anyone who is looking to do something like this, if they're not in Charlotte, do you have any recommendations? Do you do this? I know you do it in person, but are there other things or other locations?
So we started Girlhood Charlotte.
Okay.
With the Charlotte on the end of it, being that, okay, if this expands to, could be Girlhood Raleigh, could
Right.
be,
That's great. I
Girlhood
love
Greensboro, whatever that is. So, if anyone out there, has an interest in wanting to do this in their hometown, they are
That's
more than
awesome.
welcome to, contact us. And I can, I guess, give my information at some point later.
Well, we
but,
will put that in the show notes, ladies and
okay.
gentlemen. That is what we do here.
Okay. So, yes. So, if you out there love talking about puberty, periods, vaginas,
Yes.
yes, and want to have a fun time
Yeah.
with a group of moms and,
It sounds
young
like
girls.
it sounds like bunko, what my mom does when she goes to bunko. They just, have wine and play like a little game and learn about each other. And you can kind of, like you said, just make it fun. Make it
do.
fun.
We do, and it's interactive. There's a PowerPoint that kind of goes along with what we're talking about, so that if some kids are more visual and want to kind of see.
Yeah.
So, and then we ask questions. We have a model of, like, the uterus and all the stuff, and so we show the girls, like, we ask them, how many holes do you have? Which hole does the
I would be the one in the class giggling.
Yep. Yeah, which hole we give out tampons and pads
Yeah.
so they can see them, open them up, manipulate them, whatever. Just so the first time you're not opening one up is when you
Yeah.
are getting your period, so that they're at least like, I've seen it before.
Right.
Okay, and showing them, okay, what hole does it go
Yeah.
into? How do you put it in your underwear?
Right.
And we have a worksheet that we do with kind of labeling all the parts.
Okay.
And we make the girls try to do it, and then we see if the moms can check it if they're correct or not.
Okay.
And then we have a little period kit that we hand out
That's great.
that's got, starter, like, size pads, tampon, hand sanitizer, a little bracelet.
What does the bracelet say?
It's a little sanitary wipe.
Does it say anything?
It's just lots of different colors.
Okay.
And so to not pull attention to, because we had thought about, okay, should we do something that says like Girlhood Charlotte? Well, we want the girls to be part of the girlhood, And if somebody were to come up to them and ask them, about it, like, not necessarily that it says something on there, but they could just be like, well, I'm part of the girlhood. And if they
Oh,
want to know about that,
what? I
then
love that.
hopefully, the girls would feel comfortable about saying like, well, I took a class, learning about, growing and
Yeah.
the changes that are going to happen to me over the next few years. And, this is just showing that I, am part of that girlhood.
Yeah, and that your mom cares about you growing up to be a strong woman and to
Yes.
take being a woman in a confident way and not to look at it as something that is, can be scary at times. And
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And I mean, and just like any kind of piece of jewelry that may have meaning to you, it's like, if you look down at it and you see it, that's what the hope is, that you feel empowered and confident and
Yeah.
that, what, like,
Right.
I can do this.
I feel like can we do an adult one of those?
Yes.
I feel
Yes.
like
Well, okay. Well, it's funny you asked that because we have also talked about doing, so this one's part 1, girlhood. We have talked about doing part 2 for womanhood, which would
Okay.
be more about like talking about sex
right.
in the older, more into the teen years.
Yeah.
And then we've talked about doing an adulthood
Oh, that's
Or-
good.
for moms.
Yeah.
Yes. So thinking about goals and long-term things.
Right. You have nieces?
Visually.
Do you have nieces?
I do not.
No nieces. Okay. One of the things that's interesting for me as an aunt is, I don't know what Jill, my sister-in-law, may have shared with Delaney. So if Delaney, I feel like maybe you could even include aunts in this if they want to, just so that I know what Jill has shared with Delaney. So if
Right.
Delaney asks me, I'm not like, ooh.
True. Yeah.
Just
Yes.
to, and maybe it's not even you having to do that, but maybe this is just a reminder for me to talk with my sister-in-law about this as Delaney is growing up.
Yes.
Hey, what are you calling the vagina? Is that like, do you have a name for it? Like, growing up, my mom would never let me say I have to pee. She's like, you don't say that. You say you have to tinkle. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I am not going to say I have to tinkle. So as I got older, I'm very thankful for the show Schitt's Creek because of Twyla. If you know Schitt's Creek, Twyla is one of the characters. And I say I have to Twyla. And it doesn't sound as aggressive as tinkle.
It sounds great.
But it's
so,
great.
what did you call your vagina growing up, or what did
A
your mother-
vagina. It was a vagina,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like I don't really know. I don't know if there's a lot of great names for it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But so maybe it's just a reminder for aunts out there to talk with their in-laws about the process they are going to be taking with their daughters.
Yes.
Just so that we're aligned and on the same page.
Right. And we send resources, like after the class, we do a follow-up email, see if there's more questions, send
Yeah.
resources out, which also could possibly include, some of the highlights that we hit on.
Right.
So you could be like, hey, if you feel like you want to talk with grandmothers or
Yeah.
aunts or, other important people in your daughter's life,
That's great.
that they would kind of know at the page that everybody's on.
Do you have any scheduled coming up?
We do. We've got the goal is to probably do about one a month.
Okay. Like we said, like your period.
Yes, once a month. Like
Once
you.
a month.
Yes. So we've got our next one's coming up in May.
Okay.
Which has given us some time to, go back and tweak some things from our first one, and really, get excited and prepared for
Yeah.
what we got coming. And the more I feel like the more we do, the more we're gonna learn.
Right.
It's just hoping to share this throughout Charlotte
Right.
and get the word out.
Yeah.
And which very thankful that you asked me
Yeah.
to come
Oh
and
my
talk
gosh.
today.
I just know that anybody who is either involved in Body by Trainer or talks with your trainer is always needs to learn. We always need to learn, and they're always receptive to whatever I am talking about.
Yes.
Do you think for these classes, are there girls that have already had their period and are still learning about it, or do you think it's best that every girl in there hasn't had it yet?
That's a good question. I think it's up to the mom and daughter.
Right.
You probably try to get it, have the class prior to them going through it, just
Yeah.
so that they can feel more prepared. But if
Excuse me.
they newly have it and feel like they still want to learn, and
Right.
and the mom wants to kind of feel like that maybe the class would help in learning how to talk to her daughter more about the changes she's going through.
Right.
For sure. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be great. And I would say it's targeted more towards the girls that have yet to get their period.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking about it, like you said, you want it to be girls or moms that know each other and that are comfortable around each other, but it's so hard. I mean, like, I got my period at 10, and some of my girlfriends got it at 13. So my 10-year-old friends, we wouldn't be able to essentially take the class together because we're in different boats.
Correct.
So it's kind of hard to really plan it like that. So I feel
Yes.
like having it open to the mom's, decision with her friends makes it,
Yes.
easier to plan
It
for
does.
them.
It does.
It's just like, oh, did your friend Sarah get her period yet?
Right.
So
Yeah.
a little bit harder to plan that way.
I know. And then with the girls hopefully getting to go with some of their friends at least, and they feel that bond of that
Yes.
the girlhood, that when they do get it, they can go back to their friend and say, I got my period,
Yeah.
or and feel comfortable talking with them,
Right.
About it.
Yes.
So just creating that space,
Right.
for as the girls
Yeah.
all go through it together.
Right.
You know?
And then maybe it'll help them be more comfortable to talk about other things with their moms.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
open up the conversation. Everything is okay. And I just love this, Mary. I feel like there's so many women listening right now that are like, oh my God, I am obsessed with this idea. This is so incredible. I have to get involved in this some way, shape, or form. So I feel like you're doing something really awesome. And I feel like it's going to take off. And I'm just so pumped for what you guys are doing with this. So
Well, thanks.
I just love it.
I mean, I've had some moms reach out and some old Orange Theory members
Yeah.
reach out, and they're all just so sweet and encouraging, and like, this is so great
yeah.
and amazing, and so thank y'all for that. And
Absolutely.
it's I'm excited about it. I
Yeah.
have to tell myself that to be patient and let it
Yeah.
run its course how it's supposed to. And
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
a combination of being patient, though, but also really working hard. Because when you have these, like we've talked about my Instagram, you're like, I could have given up on it many a times when things weren't taking off, but it's just consistency. Don't give up on yourself. This is an amazing idea that you guys have, and maybe it won't take off immediately and right away. So yes, be patient, but like keep going and keep pushing on that gas pedal because it will happen.
Well, thanks. And now, like, we're going back again.
Yeah.
You said some nice things to me earlier. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like I could, say the nice things back to you because I've watched you grow
Right.
over
From the
these
beginning,
last,
yeah.
You're coming up on
4 years.
4?
Yeah, when this episode comes out, we'll have 4 years.
4
so.
years on March 17th.
That's
Okay.
right, girl.
Who's excited to see?
It's a Sunday. So
Who's excited to see what kind of tassels are going to be on these girls for St.
Well,
Patty's Day?
earlier I said, I don't know what my outfit is going to be yet, but it's going to be great. So tassels are a great
I think
idea.
it should just be tassels.
Okay, we're going to break the internet.
Yeah, yes, you are. But it has been an honor to watch
Oh,
what
thanks,
you've done
Mary.
the last 4 years and
I
just
love
grow and just, see, and whether or not, I'm able to do the live workouts or I go back and do them later or whatever. If I pop on Instagram and you're on there and I just see your face, I feel like I'm like, I got to see Meghan today.
Oh.
And it makes my day better.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, so-
that means a lot to me. And see, that's just, you got to have friends that pump you up. And this, in the beginning of this podcast, I talk about being those that listen, number one hype girl. And you are one of my best hype girls. So
Hey,
love
back-
you, girl.
Back at you.
Well, I would like everybody to reach out to Mary Queen. The information to reach out to her and everything for Girlhood Charlotte is in the show notes. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Mary about any of those things. There's no question is a stupid question. And, we just open it up. Everybody, studios, I mean, how cool is this setup?
It's y'all. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like you should do a workout in here.
I might be able to do that, but we can't really close this out without, it's Friday, y'all.
Oh, yes.
And we got to take a Fireball shot. So if you're out there listening and you've got Fireball in your fridge, just go ahead and get it. This is a little disturbing because it's warm, but, and also some of my friends think that I'm a loser because I don't actually take the whole shot. But I find that to be just more about moderation.
Yeah, thank you for not making me take this entire thing.
Cheers,
Cheers.
Mary Queen. And
Cheers.
everybody, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Talks with Your Trainer. Mary, thanks for being here. Love you.
Thank you so
and
much for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's party pump. Cheers, girl.
Cheers. It's so good though.
Once you
You
just
took
get
more than me. Mine was a little bit of a